The buzzing of my phone woke me up at 2:45 a.m. It wasn't the usual sound of a text or call. This was different, like a security alert. Half asleep, I almost ignored it, but something made me take a closer look. The notification was from an app I didn't even recognize. Asterisk secure track asterisk. It read, asterisk alert, location data accessed, asterisk. My name is Sabrina, and that message was the beginning of the end of my so-called normal life. I sat up slowly, careful not to disturb Paul. He was fast asleep beside me, his back turned, just like every night lately. The blue light from my phone lit up the room, making strange shapes dance on the walls as I tried to figure out what this mysterious app was. It wasn't on my home screen, but after digging through my settings, I found it. Asterisk secure track asterisk, running silently in the background. How long had it been there? What the hell? I whispered, my hands shaking as I opened it. A map popped up, showing everywhere I'd been that week. My daily drive to the school where I teach, Sunday coffee with Caitlin, even the quick stop I'd made at the jewelry store to buy Paul's anniversary gift. The room suddenly felt too hot, too small. I got out of bed as quietly as I could and made my way down the hall to the kitchen. I passed Alice's room on the way. My 15-year-old daughter was fast asleep, completely unaware that her mom's life was unraveling under the harsh light of the kitchen. I went deeper into the app. It wasn't just tracking where I went. It had everything. My texts, my call history, even my internet searches. Every new discovery felt like a punch to the stomach. Who could have done this? Why? My hand shook as I reached for a glass of water. The house was silent, except for the low hum of the refrigerator. The quiet made everything feel even stranger. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Another alert, asterisk secure track, audio recording in progress asterisk. My heart froze. I scrambled through the app until I found a folder labeled asterisk recordings asterisk. The newest file was from 3 days ago. I tapped it and my own voice played through the speaker, soft and distant. I don't know, Caitlin, I heard myself say during our coffee chat. Paul's been acting different lately, working late, always on his phone. My blood turned cold. I quickly stopped the recording. My stomach twisted in knots. Someone had been listening to my private conversations. Someone had been tracking everywhere I went. For an app like this to be installed, someone would have needed physical access to my phone. The sound of footsteps upstairs made me freeze. They were heading toward the bedrooms. A moment later, I realized it was just Paul, probably getting up to use the bathroom, like he did most nights. But for the first time in 16 years of marriage, the sound of his footsteps made my skin crawl. I quickly shut the app and deleted the alerts, my instincts taking over. Asterisk, don't react. Don't give yourself away. Gather proof. Make a plan. Asterisk. My students would never believe their calm, Shakespeare-quoting English teacher could think so strategically. When I got back in bed, I lay there wide awake, listening to Paul's steady breathing. My thoughts were spinning. The man I trusted for so long, the father of my child, my partner, was hiding something. But why would he need to track me like this? Or was this part of something even bigger? One thing was clear. I couldn't confront him. Not yet. Not until I figured out what I was dealing with. Tomorrow I'd start digging. Tomorrow I'd begin to untangle whatever secret was wrapped around my life. As I finally started to drift off, my phone buzzed again. Half asleep, I nearly ignored it, but then I saw it. A text from an unknown number. Asterisk, be careful what you look for, Sabrina. Some truths are better left buried, asterisk. Morning came too soon, and I hadn't slept much. My mind was still spinning from everything I had uncovered, but I forced myself to act normal, moving through the morning routine. The kitchen filled with the smell of coffee and toast as I packed Alice's lunch, doing my best to keep my hands steady. Paul came downstairs in a sharp blue suit, the one he always wore for big client meetings. He barely looked at me as he filled his travel mug with coffee. "Big meeting today?" I asked, keeping my voice casual while watching his face for any signs of guilt. "Yeah," he said, not meeting my eyes. "Probably won't be home for dinner." His focus stayed on the coffee, stirring it with robotic precision. "The Morrison account needs extra attention," he added. The asterisk Morrison account asterisk. The same excuse he'd used 4 times in the past 3 weeks. My chest tightened. I wanted to scream, to demand answers about the app and the tracking, but instead, I bit my tongue, nodded, and turned back to making Alice's sandwich. "Mom, have you seen my USB drive?" Alice called as she walked into the kitchen, her dark hair still damp from her shower. "The blue one with all my coding projects on it." "Check the living room," I said, grateful for the distraction. "You were working there last night." Alyssa stopped, her eyes flicking between Paul and me. She was always sharp, too smart for her own good sometimes. Her gaze narrowed as she noticed the space between us, the way we avoided touching when Paul brushed past me to grab his briefcase. "Dad," she said suddenly, "you promised to help me with my computer science project this weekend. Remember? The one about digital privacy and security." I froze, nearly dropping the knife in my hand. Paul's shoulders stiffened. "Sorry, sweetheart," he said, his voice strained. "Something came up at work. Maybe next weekend." Alice's face fell, but there was something else in her expression. Suspicion. "Right. Work again," she said softly. Paul leaned down, kissed her on the forehead, and headed for the door. "Love you both," he called out, but the words felt empty, like they were rehearsed. After he left, Alyssa turned to me. "Mom, what's going on?" "What do you mean?" I asked, busying myself with the breakfast dishes. "Dad's been acting weird. And you," she hesitated. "You look like you haven't slept. Plus, you're washing that same plate for the 3rd time." I set the plate down, forcing a smile. "It's just work stress, honey. You know how it gets during final season." "Mom," Alyssa said, crossing her arms, "I'm 15, not 4. I know something's wrong. I heard you up last night." Before I could come up with a reply, my phone buzzed. Another asterisk secure track asterisk alert. I snatched it up before Alyssa could see the screen, but not before catching the message. Asterisk audio recording saved. Kitchen. 6:30 a.m. asterisk. "I need to get to school early," I said quickly, grabbing my purse. "Teacher's meeting. Will you be okay taking the bus?" Alice's face shut down. "Sure, whatever." The drive to school was a blur. Once I parked, I pulled out my phone and searched for Caitlin's number. She'd been my friend since college and worked in IT security. If anyone could help me figure this out, it was her. But just as I was about to call, another text came through from the same unknown number. Asterisk careful who you trust, Sabrina. Caitlin might not be the friend you think she is, asterisk. My blood ran cold. How did they know I was about to call Caitlin? Unless... I glanced around the parking lot, suddenly feeling exposed. The spyware must have access to my phone's camera, too. A knock on my window made me jump. It was just Tia from the English department, looking concerned. "You okay, Sabrina? The meeting's about to start." "Yeah, coming," I said, grabbing my bag. As I walked toward the building, my mind raced. I couldn't trust my phone. I couldn't trust my husband. Maybe I couldn't even trust Caitlin. And worst of all, I was starting to see cracks in my relationship with Alyssa, the one person I was trying so hard to protect from all of this. As I entered the school, my phone buzzed again. The message read, asterisk smart girl, your daughter. Maybe she should look into that computer science project more carefully. Lots of interesting things to learn about digital privacy these days. Asterisk. This wasn't just a warning anymore. It was a direct threat. And now they were pulling Alyssa into it. That was my breaking point. Tony Stark's office was tucked between a laundromat and an Italian takeout place. The private investigator looked as worn as his leather chair. He flipped through the screenshots I'd taken of the spyware app. Asterisk Secure Track Pro asterisk, he said, sliding his glasses off. High-end software. You can't just grab this off the regular market. Can you trace it? I asked. He nodded slowly. Already did. It was purchased 5 weeks ago through a shell company. But here's where it gets interesting. He turned his computer screen toward me. The buyer used your home address for billing. My stomach sank. Paul. That's not all, Tony continued, clicking through more files. The shell company's been busy. They've been making regular payments to a rental property in Oakwood Heights. Fancy place. Too pricey for one person. Unless someone else is helping with the rent, I said, the words bitter in my mouth. Bingo. He pulled up a photo on the screen. My heart dropped. It showed Paul walking out of the building with a woman. I didn't recognize her at first. She was younger than me, effortlessly beautiful, the kind of person who didn't have to try. His hand rested on the small of her back in a way that was far too familiar. Erica Kerr, Tony said, breaking the silence. She works at Paul's firm. Junior partner, rising star, fast-tracked for promotion. My phone buzzed again with another asterisk secure track asterisk alert, but I ignored it. Instead, I focused on the dates under the photos. These are from the nights he said he was working late on the Morrison account. I muttered. Tony hesitated before adding, there's more. The spyware. It wasn't his idea. I looked up, startled. What do you mean? From the email trail I found, he explained. Erica pushed for it. She's been encouraging him to make a clean break. A clean break. My voice trembled. From you and Alyssa. He slid a folder across the desk. These are all the files I pulled, including, he tapped one document. A consultation with a divorce attorney last week. The room felt too bright. The smell of Italian food wafting through the walls made me nauseous. Why the spyware then, if he's planning to leave? I asked, trying to steady my voice. Insurance, maybe. Or control. People do strange things when they're living double lives. My phone buzzed again. This time, I looked at the screen. Asterisk having fun with Tony. Wonder what Paul would think about his wife meeting strange men in secret. Asterisk. I felt the blood drain from my face and showed Tony the message. His expression darkened. They're watching you, he said quietly. Probably through your phone's camera. He grabbed a sticky note and scribbled down a number. Here, this is a burner phone. Use it to contact me from now on. And Sabrina, he added, his tone serious, be careful. People who use surveillance like this aren't just messing around. As I walked to my car, another text popped up. Asterisk TikTok, Sabrina. How long before Alyssa finds out her mother is sneaking around too? Asterisk. I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. They were trying to mess with my head, to make me feel guilty for uncovering their lies. My phone rang. It was Paul. Hey, he said, his tone casual, smooth, like nothing was wrong. Just checking if you can pick up Alyssa today. My meeting's running late. Asterisk meeting asterisk right. I wondered if Erica was with him at that very moment, maybe running her fingers through his hair the way I used to. Actually, I said, my voice steady, I have a meeting too. With the Morrison account. The silence on his end was deafening. The Morrison account. His voice cracked slightly. Yeah, I said, starting my car. Funny thing about that account, Paul, they closed their business 5 months ago. I didn't wait for his reply. But hey, enjoy your meeting. Say hi to Erica for me. I hung up before he could respond, my heart pounding. Through the windshield, I caught a glimpse of my reflection. I looked pale, scared, but there was something else too. Something harder. Something determined. My phone lit up with his number again. I declined the call and opened the asterisk secure track asterisk app. If they wanted to watch me, fine. Let them see what happens when they push someone too far. Instead of going to Erica's apartment, I found myself in my classroom during lunch. I stared at a stack of unsigned permission slips for tomorrow's field trip, lost in thought. Alyssa appeared in the doorway, dropping her backpack by my desk. You missed breakfast again, she said, and Dad didn't come home last night. I forced a smile. He texted, late meeting. Stop. Alice's voice cracked. Just stop lying to me. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as we locked eyes. Her face, once soft and childlike, now carried sharper edges, too knowing, too grown for her age. I found something on Dad's laptop, she said, pulling out her phone. Remember when he asked me to help organize his work files last weekend? My stomach tightened. Alyssa, there were emails, she interrupted. A lot of them. To someone named Erica. She placed her phone on my desk, the screen facing up. He's planning to leave us, isn't he? Before I could answer, a student appeared at the door. Mrs. Matthews, Principal Owen needs to see you. He says it's urgent. I found Paul waiting in the principal's office, sitting next to Mr. Owen. Paul wore his courtroom smile, the one he used when he was about to tear someone's reputation apart on the stand. Sabrina, Owen began, shifting uncomfortably. Serious allegations have been made. There's a claim about inappropriate contact with a private investigator during school hours and concerns about your emotional stability affecting your teaching. The trap was closing. Paul had gotten ahead of me, spinning the story to suit him. Of course he had. He was a lawyer. Manipulating narratives was his specialty. I'm worried about you, honey, Paul said, his voice dripping with fake concern. The paranoia, the accusations, the secret meetings. This isn't like you. Let me help you. Help? Like he had helped by planting spyware on my phone. Like he had helped by planning a divorce behind my back while pretending to be the perfect husband. Mr. Matthews has suggested you take a leave of absence, Principal Owen added, to get things sorted out. My phone buzzed again. Another asterisk secure track asterisk alert. They were recording every word of this conversation. Building their case. Trying to make me look paranoid, unfit to teach, unfit to parent. I have proof, I said quietly, my voice steady. Proof of everything. The spyware you and Erica installed on my phone. The shell company. The apartment in Oakwood Heights. I turned to Owen. I also have recordings of every conversation from the past 5 weeks. Yes, including conversations with students and parents. I wonder how the school board would feel about that kind of privacy violation. Owen's face went pale. Privacy violation? He stammered. I'll email you the evidence, I said, standing up. But right now, I need to speak to my daughter. She found your emails, Paul, the ones to Erica about leaving us. Paul's confident mask cracked. Alyssa found them. Yes, I said sharply. So while you're here trying to ruin my career to cover your tracks, our daughter is sitting in my classroom trying to figure out why her father is abandoning her. I walked out, leaving them stunned and scrambling for words. In the hallway, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't from asterisk secure track asterisk. It was a text from Tony. Asterisk got something big. Erica's not who she claims to be. Meet ASAP. Asterisk. Back in my classroom, Alyssa was still there, her laptop open, lines of code scrolling across the screen. What are you doing? I asked, my voice shaky, fighting back tears. She didn't look up. Did you know most spyware has backdoors that can be hacked? Dad really should have done better research before buying it. I watched her fingers fly across the keyboard. Her face was focused, determined. In that moment, she looked so much like me, not the scared, exhausted version I'd become, but the strong, fearless version I used to be. The version I needed to find again. Mom, Alyssa said, finally looking up, I found something else in the app's code. Her voice was low. Something bad, really bad. I don't think this is just about Dad's affair anymore. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't from the unknown number. It was from Erica herself. Asterisk, we need to talk. Your husband isn't the only one being blackmailed. Meet me tonight. Asterisk. Alice's face was lit by the blue glow of her laptop as we sat in Tony Stark's dimly lit office. It's not just spyware, she explained, her fingers flying across the keyboard. It's part of something bigger. Look at these connections. Tony leaned closer, squinting at the code. These IP addresses, they're routing through law firms across the state. Dad's firm isn't the only one involved. I felt a chill run down my spine as I processed it. Erica's message about blackmail, I whispered, thinking of the implications. How many? 17 so far, Alyssa said, her voice steady as she continued typing. They're all using the same spyware, all tied to one central server. Her fingers kept moving, and she added, and get this, they're all handling high-profile divorce cases. Tony let out a low whistle. Surveillance footage, private conversations, location data. That's a gold mine for divorce settlements. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Erica. Asterisk, they're watching. Don't trust Paul. Meet me at Millvale Riverfront Park in 45 minutes. Asterisk. It's a trap, Tony said, reading the message over my shoulder. Probably. Yeah, I replied, grabbing my coat. But she's scared. I added, my thoughts racing. You didn't hear her voice in the recordings Alyssa found. Alyssa turned her laptop toward me, showing me something on the screen. Look at this email thread. Erica tried to back out 4 weeks ago. The next day, someone sent her this. She clicked on the attachment. The image showed Erica leaving a building I recognized immediately, a women's shelter where I volunteered. She was helping a young woman inside, both of them glancing nervously over their shoulders. Her sister, Tony said quietly, she's been hiding from an abusive ex for 5 months. My stomach churned as the pieces fell into place. They're using her sister to control her. Alice's voice trembled as she added, there's something else. Remember that college fund Dad started for me. Last month, my chest tightened. What about it? The money? It's not mine. It's being funneled through shell companies, the same ones paying for the spyware. She hesitated, her voice heavy with disbelief. Dad's helping them launder money? The room spun as the weight of it all crashed down on me. Paul wasn't just having an affair or spying on me. He was part of something far darker, something that could ruin not just our marriage, but his career, his freedom, and everything we had built. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video. It showed Alyssa walking home from school yesterday. Beneath it was a single line. Asterisk back off or she's next asterisk. They bluff. Tony started, but I was already on my feet, heading for the door. Mom, stop! Alyssa called after me. We need a plan. I have one, I said, turning back to see my daughter's worried face. She looked so much older than her 15 years. I'm ending this tonight. Not alone, you're not. Alyssa shot back, grabbing her laptop. I could hack their network, shut down the spyware remotely, give you a window. Absolutely not, I said firmly. It's too dangerous. More dangerous than you meeting Erica alone. She challenged, her chin raised defiantly. They're already threatening me. At least let me fight back. Tony cleared his throat. The kid's got a point. You need backup. I've got a friend in the FBI cybercrime division. One call. No, I shook my head, thinking about Erica's sister and all the others being blackmailed. Not yet. If we scare them off too soon, people could get hurt. We need to know exactly what we're dealing with first. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a photo of Paul entering a building I didn't recognize, followed by a message. Asterisk TikTok. Your husband's about to make a deal that can't be undone. Choose wisely. Asterisk. I looked at Alyssa, my brave, brilliant daughter who refused to be a victim, and at Tony, who had become more than just an investigator. They were my allies in this chaos. Okay, I said, here's what we're going to do. Alyssa, you and Tony will work on accessing their network, but you stay here where it's safe. I'll meet Erica and find out what she knows. And then, Tony asked. I thought of the lies, the manipulation, the threats against my daughter. My voice was steady as I replied, and then we burn it all down. Every last bit of it. As I left the office, I heard Alice's fingers flying across her keyboard. I couldn't help but smile grimly. They thought they could scare a mother by threatening her child. They were about to learn how dangerous that mistake would be. Millville Riverfront Park was eerily quiet when I arrived. Erica sat alone on a bench near the water. She looked nothing like the confident woman in Tony's photos. She seemed small or fragile. They're watching, she said without looking up. But Alice's program worked. We have about 10 minutes before the spyware kicks back online. I sat beside her, keeping a safe distance. Tell me about my husband's deal. It's not just Paul, she said, her hands trembling as she handed me a USB drive. The firm's been running this for years. They install spyware on their own clients' devices, collect dirt on both sides during divorces, and use it to manipulate settlements. The money laundering, that's just extra profit. My phone buzzed. A text from Alyssa. Asterisk Mom. Something's wrong. Wrong? Dad's not at the office. Asterisk. The message cut off. Behind me, a voice I knew all too well said, Going somewhere, Sabrina. I really wish you'd stayed out of this. Paul stepped out of the shadows, and he wasn't alone. 3 men in suits flanked him, their faces cold and emotionless. The thing is, Paul continued, moving closer, you were never supposed to find the spyware. That was Erica's mistake. He shot her a sharp, disappointed look. She got sloppy, like you got sloppy with the college fund. I stepped in front of Erica. Money laundering through our daughter's account. That's low, even for you. It's called protecting our future, he replied, his smile empty. Everything I've done was for us. The firm's offering me partner, Sabrina. Real power. All I had to do was prove my loyalty by spying on your own families. I demanded, by showing I know how to play the game. He gestured to the men beside him. Now we can handle this quietly. The firm is willing to be generous. A clean divorce, full custody of Alyssa, a comfortable settlement. All you have to do is walk away. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from Tony. Asterisk FBI on the way. Stall him asterisk. And if I don't walk away? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Paul's expression turned cold. Then things get complicated for everyone. He held up his phone, showing a live feed of the women's shelter where Erica's sister was staying. And maybe that bright future Alyssa has in computer science disappears too. It would be a shame if she got caught hacking corporate servers. You threaten your own daughters? I asked, my voice shaking. The words tasted bitter. I'm protecting her, Paul said, stepping closer. His tone softened, almost pleading. Teaching her how the world really works. Come on, Sabrina. Take the deal. We can all walk away from this. Behind me, Erica let out a soft, broken sound. I thought about her sister, about all the families this scheme had hurt, and about Alyssa, who had just seen her father for who he truly was. You're right about one thing, I said quietly. This ends tonight. I pulled out my phone and turned the screen toward him. A live stream was playing, Paul's entire confession being sent directly to Tony and the FBI with backup saved to secure servers. Paul's face went pale. You didn't come alone, he said. Neither did you, I replied. Flashlights suddenly lit up the park as FBI agents emerged from the darkness. Paul's 3 friends vanished without a word, leaving him alone as the agents closed in. Sabrina, please, he begged, his confident mask gone. Everything I did was for us, for Alyssa. No, I said, watching as the agents cuffed him. Everything you did was for yourself. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. Asterisk, this isn't over. The firm protects its own asterisk. I looked around the park. Paul was being led away, his world collapsing around him. Erica sobbed in relief as agents reassured her that her sister was safe. My life, the one I had worked so hard to build, was in ruins. The firm would strike back. My career might be over. Our savings were likely gone. And somewhere in Tony's office, my teenage daughter had just witnessed her father choose power over family. But as I stood in the darkness, watching Paul's downfall, one thing was certain. I wasn't scared anymore. I realized something important. Sometimes you have to let everything burn to see what's truly worth saving. My phone buzzed again. It was a text from Alyssa. Asterisk, Mom, you okay? Asterisk. No, I wasn't okay. But for the first time in weeks, I knew exactly what I was fighting for. The holding cell at the federal building wasn't what I'd imagined. Paul sat inside, still wearing his expensive suit, somehow looking both powerful and pitiful under the harsh fluorescent lights. 2 FBI agents stood outside, but had given us privacy to talk. You could have taken the deal, Paul said quietly. We could have kept our family, our families. I repeated, placing the USB drive Erica had given me on the table between us. Let's talk about family, Paul. Let's talk about the 25 other families your firm destroyed this year alone. His jaw tightened. You don't understand how things work in my world. I understand perfectly, I said, sliding a stack of printouts across the table. Bank statements, emails, surveillance logs. You chose power over people, money over morality, and now you're choosing your firm over your daughter. Leave Alyssa out of this, he said, his voice rising. You brought her into this, I shot back, my voice steady even though my hands shook. You used her college fund to launder money. You threatened her future to protect your scheme. A knock at the door made us both jump. I turned to see Alyssa standing there, Tony right behind her. I hadn't expected her to come. I tried to shield her from this moment, but the determined look in her eyes reminded me so much of myself. "I want to talk to him," she said, stepping into the room. Paul's face crumpled. "Sweetheart, don't." Alyssa sat beside me, her laptop open. "I found something in the spyware code," Alyssa said, her voice steady but laced with anger. "Something Mom doesn't know about yet." My heart stopped. Paul's face went pale. "The program wasn't just recording conversations," Alyssa continued. "It was fabricating them, creating fake evidence to use against your client's spouses. And Mom—" She turned the laptop toward us, her voice trembling slightly. "They were building a case against you too." I stared at the screen. Audio files, manipulated photos, faked conversations. It was a completely fabricated history of inappropriate behavior designed to ruin me. "Insurance," Paul whispered. "In case you ever found out. In case you ever became a threat." I felt the anger I'd been holding back boil over. "You were going to destroy my career, take Alyssa away from me." "The firm required leverage on everyone involved, even me," Paul said. He reached for Alyssa's hand, but she pulled it away. "You would have used it," Alyssa said sharply. "Just like you used Erica's sister against her. Just like you've used everyone." A commotion outside drew our attention. Through the window, I saw Erica being led in by agents. Her face was streaked with tears, but her posture was strong, determined. Behind her came a line of men in suits, the firm's senior partners. Their air of power was gone, replaced by panic as federal agents marched them inside. "They're all turning on each other," Tony said, appearing in the doorway. "The whole house of cards is falling apart." Paul stood abruptly, desperation plain on his face. "Sabrina, please." I looked at him, the man I'd once trusted with everything, and felt nothing but disgust. "It's over, Paul. I can still fix this," Paul pleaded, his voice desperate. "The firm has connections, resources." "Stop lying," Alyssa said sharply, cutting him off. Her voice was steady, her words clear. "Just stop." She stepped closer to him, her gaze unwavering. "Mom found the spyware, but I found the truth. I cracked their encryption. Me, your daughter, the same one you were ready to sacrifice." Alyssa stood, gathering her laptop, her expression a mix of anger and resolve. "I used to think you were the smartest person I knew. Now I see you're just another bully who thought he could control everyone with their secrets." She turned to me. "Can we go home now, Mom?" Paul reached out again. "Alyssa, everything you did was for yourself," she said coldly, cutting him off again. "Mom protected me. You only protected your power." As we walked toward the door, Paul called after us one last time. "What happens now?" I paused and looked at my daughter, the amazing person she had become through all of this. I looked at Tony, a true friend who had stood by us. I glanced at the window at Erica, who had finally chosen truth over fear. Then I met Paul's eyes. "Now we rebuild. Without you." Alyssa slipped her hand into mine as we left. Behind us, Paul's carefully constructed world continued to collapse. But ahead of us, there was something new, a future built on truth instead of lies, strength instead of control, and love instead of fear. My phone buzzed as we stepped outside. It was a message from the school board. Asterisk position secure. Evidence of firm's manipulation clear when Kenu returned to teaching. Asterisk. I smiled and squeezed Alice's hand. There was still a lot of healing to do, but for the first time in months, the path forward felt clear. 5 months later, I stood in our small apartment, watching Alyssa set up her computer station in what used to be the dining area. The space was much smaller than our old house, but it felt more like home. "Mom," Alyssa called, her voice excited. The cybersecurity program accepted me for their summer workshop. I walked over to see the acceptance email on her screen, my heart swelling with pride. Things had changed so much in half a year. The trial was still ongoing, but Paul had pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for testifying against the firm. The scandal had shaken the legal community, exposing similar schemes at law firms across the state. My phone buzzed with a message from Erica. "Coffee tomorrow. Caitlin's coming too. We need your input on the shelter's new security system." I smiled. Erica's transformation had been unexpected but inspiring. She had gone from someone I feared to an ally I trusted. After everything, she had dedicated herself to helping other women escape controlling relationships, using her insider knowledge to strengthen the shelter's protections. "Think fast." Alyssa tossed a small package my way. I caught it and opened it to find a USB drive shaped like a key. "It's clean," she said with a grin. I laughed, holding the drive in my hand, and looked at her. "So are we?" I smiled as I checked the message. We could laugh about it now, but those weeks of uncovering the spyware had changed both of us. Alyssa had turned her pain into purpose, becoming the youngest intern at Tony's new cybersecurity consulting firm. And me, I was Professor Matthew again. "Professor Matthew," a student's voice called from my laptop. "Right? Office hours." Even through video chat, teaching felt different now, better, more meaningful. "Just a minute," I called back, then turned to Alyssa. "Dinner at 6. Caitlin's bringing that pasta you like." "Can't," she said, packing her bag. "I'm meeting Tony and his FBI friend to talk about the workshop curriculum." She paused, her expression softening. "Dad's sentencing is next week." The room seemed to quiet for a moment. We both received letters from Paul, full of apologies, explanations, and promises to change. They sat unopened in my desk drawer. Some bridges once burned weren't meant to be rebuilt. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You thought you won, but power always protects its own." I showed it to Alyssa. She was already typing. Traced it. "Just another bitter ex-partner from the firm." "Want me to send it to Tony?" "No," I said, deleting the message. Some people never learn that real power isn't about control. The doorbell rang. Caitlin was early. She and I were preparing for an upcoming educational conference on digital privacy in schools. Funny how my nightmare had turned into something that could help others. "Coming," I called, but Alyssa was already opening the door. She and Caitlin had grown close, bonding over coding and their shared love of terrible sci-fi movies. "Hey, warrior women," Caitlin said, walking in with bags of takeout. "Ready to change the world?" I glanced around our cozy home. Alice's workspace was set up where she helped people protect their privacy. Conference notes were spread across my desk, and Caitlin's friendship with Erica had grown as they worked together to secure the shelter. "You know what's funny?" I said, grabbing plates from the cabinet. "When all of this started, I thought it was about revenge, making Paul pay for what he did to us." "It wasn't," Alyssa said, setting up her laptop. "It was about deciding who we wanted to be after the betrayal." Caitlin raised an eyebrow. "When did you get so wise, kid?" "When my mom showed me that strength isn't about controlling others," Alyssa said with a smile. "It's about helping others find their own strength." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Tony. "Got that teaching position approved. You start the cybersecurity awareness program next semester." Alice's curriculum suggestions were brilliant. I laughed, holding the phone up for Alyssa to see. Looks like we've got more work ahead. Alyssa grinned. Good. We're just getting started. I looked at my daughter, this incredible person who hadn't just grown through our challenges, but had become stronger because we faced them together. I looked at Caitlin, who had become more than just a friend, and at the life we had built from the ashes of betrayal. Some scars never fully heal, but they remind us of how strong we are. And sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying those who hurt us. It's about creating something better from the ruins they left behind. All right, I said, opening the takeout with a smile. Let's change the world.